Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly SIG Compute meeting. I've just dropped a link to the agenda in the chat. So if you have any topics that you want to bring up, go ahead. And the agenda is empty. Yeah, probably because we're in between releases. So let's wait for another minute or two and see if people have stuff they want to bring up.
We can have a look at the progress of quarantine tests in the meantime.
Yep, that's just a good suggestion. Okay, so I see 6 of them here. Lugo, are you aware of the state of these tests? Like if somebody is working on them, or do you want to share some information?
No. I'm not aware of the situation right now.
Is anybody else working on some of them and wants to share information? Yes, I see.
Test. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, a bit low,
Okay,
but
right.
yeah.
Right. I was working on US, like basically everything in device manager, like device plugins including USB, and I did update some of the tests, but I haven't had the chance to work on that PR again because the PR got like too bloated. So yeah.
Gotcha. So first of all, thank you for doing that. If you need any help or reviews, feel free to ping us, or if you, or you can bring up questions in this issue if you need to. Do you want to talk about something now? Do you want to present, show us what you did or something like that, or do you want to do that on the PR?
I think I'll do that in the PR because with the VEP releases and stuff, I was distracted for a few months with it, so I don't remember half the things I did, to be honest. But mostly, like I worked on like USB tests had like terrible unit tests as well. Mostly, I did focus on the unit tests, not necessarily the end-to-end tests. But there like the whole USB test, even the production code is like riddled with lots of bugs. Like for example, health checks are just wrong in USB device. I will
You
ping you when I
started.
update that PR again.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for doing that. And yeah, if people have bandwidth to have a look on some of these tests, it will be highly appreciated. Anything else on this topic, Lobo?
No, I just wanted to see if there's anybody working on it. And thank you, Asaf, for working on it.
I'll take a look at the AMD SCV stuff. I definitely owe you for that.
Awesome, thank you. Maybe I'll even
Thank you.
write that in the issue here. Which one of them is the right one? Alan, what's your GitHub handle, if I might ask?
Sorry, I was on mute. Just AJ Caldella should suffice.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So I do see some open floor issues. Not sure who put that up, but you're welcome to speak.
Yeah, that's me. Hey. So yeah, there's still the outstanding dynamic downtime tuning PR that missed the 1.9 release. In the meantime, it has been reviewed by Jet, but now we sort of remembered that the web text wasn't really updated. Asif pushed an update about a month ago, I think also on Eddie's request, but apparently it never got in. So I was wondering if there's a way how to unblock all this. And as I said earlier, ideally get this in some form into a further update in 1.9.
So I see that Jed and Sif are the main reviewers here.
Correct. But
Jed,
as
if what
Ted
do you
pointed
think?
out, I mean, the web doesn't correspond to the implementation right now because remember we had this overarching web that as you started that we eventually abandoned, but the other enhancement webs refer to it.
Yeah, that's it.
If I can summarize, the issue was the experimental migration options originally proposed having a feature gate for the whole experimental configuration section, and compression, not the compression, sorry, the downtime tuning web was using that to gate itself. But later on, the whole experimental block, we decided it's probably better not to have like a whole dedicated feature gate just for the experimental option. Like it didn't make sense, and then that and like other changes happened too, and then that affected this web. So essentially now this web ended up not having any feature gates at all.
Mm.
And I think this should be a relatively easy fix. Like just we could just add a new feature gate for downtime tuning.
All right, Jed, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, not necessarily a big fan of this PO I just pasted, because it removes the feature gate, and I don't see why. But I don't know. Either way, we need to make a decision on this PR before we talk about the other PR. Sorry, Asif, go ahead.
Oh wait, sorry, where did you paste this in Zoom chat?
Yeah, that's the one that's on the screen right now.
Okay, I can clarify with the feature gates. So the experimental migration options, originally they proposed that we'll have a single feature gate for everything under the experimental block. Later on, I realized this didn't make sense. And instead now what we have is experimental.stall detector. So everything that's under the stall detector, experimental.stall detector, that's guarded by the stall detector feature gate. And my thought process was that for like downtime tuning, what we could do is have a downtime tuning guard experimental.downtime tuning, because it didn't make sense that if you also guard the experimental feature gate, sorry, if you also guard the whole experimental block by a experimental options feature gate, then there'll be two feature gates to access like one thing. It didn't make sense. I think initially Mikkel was the one who pointed that out. So I removed it. And it doesn't exist in the merge code. And to be clear, these fields are like the fields under experimental are still guarded by a feature gate, just not an overarching feature gate.
What's the feature gate then? Lost me.
Well, in for stall detector, it's under experimental dot stall detector. They're all guarded by the stall detector feature gate.
Yeah, the other two features they're not currently. And again, the reasoning there is that it's all under the experimental migration options, and there's not really that much code that would be guarded by that because the mere existence of that option is basically the same thing as the gate. But
So I guess the more general question is, do we need to feature gate experimental CR fields, right?
so for that, I believe that the conclusion in the end was right, that we don't need a dedicated feature gate for experimental options because they've been separated out from the linked resources and they're sort of very well hidden in the migration policies. So I think we don't really need it for them. Then the remaining question from, as Steve pointed out, was if we still need to guard the features that leverage the experimental options with their dedicated feature gates or not.
Yes. Yeah, that's our rule for API. So is it the case today or not? Like, do we have any field that is not protected?
So yeah, I guess you could say that for the downtime PR, yes. But it's not it's the migration policy API in the experimental section.
But that's just an open PR, right? I think the compression one has been merged without any feature gate, right?
Yes, that's correct.
That was probably a mistake. Can we introduce the feature gate?
Well, I guess we can.
So let's do it and let's raise the backport to 1.9.
We had that discussion early in that cycle that it would be a bit too many feature gates, but yeah, I mean, if you eventually arrive to that, we could do 3 feature gates, sure.
Well, we have many features, so we need to have many feature gates, unfortunately.
Sure. Again, if that's the whole point of the experimental options was not to really dissect it that much, but again, that's fine.
Yeah, we should have then argued on the one Uber feature gate, but then you are fighting of like you have too many features under one, and how do you progress individuals ones? So
Sure. Again, like regarding progress, I mean, there's been a lot of arguments as well around the fact that this part of the API will never really graduate into anything. That's why it's called experimental, but again, that's okay. I can add the feature gate to both and retroactively to compression as well.
All right, then any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the compression thing was backported to 1.9, so if we want to feature gate it, it needs to be done today.
yeah, as soon as possible.
Like,
Well,
we
we
can't,
definitely
yeah.
we definitely now need another RC.
If I may play the devil's advocate, with this particular feature, I don't think adding the feature gate after the release as like a bug fix, I don't believe that would be a breaking change. Like compression itself is still protected in the sense that if you don't touch the experimental options, nothing in the code path would be triggered if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's supposedly the case for most of the things that we wanted to guard with that. So yes, that's true.
So the API would allow you before or its first release, and then its second release it would just reject. To me, it is a breaking change. You can argue that it's under experimental and it should be self-explanatory, that it can go away or something, but I mean, it's also part of the VIA1, so somebody can, expect it to be there and usable without breaking. So
Sorry, part of what?
it's part of the V1 API or not?
No. Well, again, with the separation, I think
It's not. It's in migration policies, which is beta. Oh, sorry, not alpha. Migration policy CRD, it's alpha.
yes.
Actually, though the struct itself is in V1 API, it's only exposed through migration policies. Meaning actually no, that's for downtime tuning. I was looking at the wrong PR.
It's the same thing for all three features, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And again, that's the whole reason why we spent these whatever 3 or 4 months separating it out, so that it's not the V1 API.
Yeah, so then I probably agree with you that we don't need to wait for this, but still, we should add the feature gate, because then you cannot progress with the policies, which I think we should be progressing with policies, unless we progress with the compression as well.
All right. Moving on to the next subject. We got Felix here. How are you doing, Felix?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I just wanted to draw some attention to this discussion. So I've got an interesting problem in this web, and that is that I need to talk to a registry, or in general, I need to fetch information, data from a registry. And in some cases, a secret could be required to do that. And the issue would be that I would need to grant cluster-wide read to secrets to that controller, and that's apparently, or I mean, obviously a big no-no. So one needs to get a little creative in finding a way how to access the secret without actually granting the RBAC for that, and that is the usual way to achieve that. From what I understood, is to create pods, and pods can mount those secrets or config maps as well. And you don't need to grant extra RBAC for it. So that's kind of the direction I went in this web. And then there's this little issue with communicating back information or data from a pod that I've created back to the controller. And the best thing we could come up with is dumping the whole data to std out, so the controller could read the pod's logs and parse the data from there. And I have to admit I don't like it, but I can't think of a better solution. I just wanted to draw some attention to this discussion, so maybe people can weigh in and let me know if there's a better way, or if that's the way to do it.
I can just say I really wanted to dive deeper into this web and didn't have the time yet, but we'll surely have a look. But I need to gather more details in order to give an answer from my side.
Yeah, we would be happy if people could give it a look. That would be great. Doesn't need to be right now.
So other than raising attention to it, does anybody else have more thoughts about it for now? Cool, then I guess this brings us to the end of the agenda. So let's call anything we want to talk about. All right. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.